Good Wednesday evening, everyone. I'm Student Meteorologist Lexi Birmingham.
And I'm Student Meteorologist Jay Carstens. Welcome to Hump Day. Here we are, November 16th, officially more than 1 month without measurable rainfall here in Tallahassee, although, of course, we love those comfortable temperatures.
Oh, yeah, comfortable temperatures, but we are in a drought. We want to see some rain. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, perhaps, but I really hope we have to see some showers coming in the next week.
We'll have some more about the forecast and, of course, the recent drought that we've been experiencing around here. But for now, let's talk about what's to come this weekend here. We got a potential big-time cold front making its way through. You could see our coolest temperatures of the year coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, absolutely. Highs in the mid to upper 60s, lows in the 30s.
Dare we say 30s around
Oh, my goodness.
Arctic blast is a word I don't like to throw around too often here.
Not too often, yes.
There's a chance here. And next week we could be seeing something just about the same magnitude here. Winter is almost on the way as Thanksgiving rolls its way around the corner.
I know. I'm excited to finally see some Thanksgiving and Christmas weather. It really gets me in the spiritual mood.
Well, let's get going here. Margaret's out at the wall with a quick overview of what's to come. What's going on, Margaret?
We're going to start off with the weather stem camera from last night. Usually we'll try and start this video off so that we see the daytime, but we've been looking at clear skies last couple of days. We wanted to show those clouds that just rolled by there and the moon that we saw last night. Great full moon that we saw the other night, and those clouds pretty cool too. The rest of yesterday, clear skies, just a little bit of passing cirrus clouds if you're paying really close attention to the sky here. But other than that, we've been seeing nothing but clear skies here across Tallahassee and across most of the southeast. There has been no measurable rainfall in Tallahassee in the last 31 days since October the 15th. And Dothan, Alabama, which isn't in FSU Weather's viewing area, but is in the jurisdiction of our National Weather Service office upstairs here in Tallahassee, they've gone 57 days without any rain at all. That's the longest streak on record. Here in Tallahassee over the last 60 days, we are 4 inches below our normal rainfall amounts. Our satellite and radar sticking with the trend. There is no rain to speak of anywhere except down in the Gulf, but there's no rain anywhere in the Big Bend or across the tri-state area at all on our satellite and radar here. Tonight, we're looking at getting down to around 48 degrees, another clear night, cool night with light winds. And then our weather headlines for the rest of the show. We've got more clear skies. It's going to be getting chilly this weekend. Those 30s you guys were talking about will show you just how cool it's going to get this weekend. And there is a chance of rain next week. So if you want to check that out, stay tuned. For now, desk.
Thank you, Margaret. Looking forward to the potential rainmaker. And what we're going to talk about now is very big in terms of forecasting and really just emergency response in general.
Yes, definitely. The GOES-R satellite is going to have its launch this Saturday, November 19th. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Do you know where it is?
Should be launching up from Cape Canaveral, if I'm not
Cape Canaveral,
mistaken
that's
here.
right.
And this satellite is a big upgrade from the GOES satellites that the U.S. has launched in the past year. It's going to be taking images every 30 seconds, which is about 6 times faster than the old GOES satellites took pictures, of course. Over 35,000 kilometers high. Just imagine how big our atmosphere really is, and that's only 1/10 the way to the moon.
Almost there. Could take pictures of the moon, but we want to see what they show us with weather-wise. It could take pictures of thunderstorms and all that other stuff that we as meteorologists really want to see and, show you guys if anything severe happens.
Absolutely, and also with emergency response as well. You can see things like volcanic ash, wildfire smoke with the resolution that high. It's really going to be a big help for us going forward.
That's really awesome.
For now, we'll take it out to Jordan with a more detailed look at our local picture.
Thanks so much, guys. Really excited for that satellite to launch. Can't wait to start seeing when that data starts to come in for us. For now, though, we're looking at clear skies here in Tallahassee. 68 degrees is our current temperature. Dew point and humidity is sticking pretty low, too, so very dry conditions and especially that calm wind, too. Sadly, we do need that rain because we haven't had it in quite some time, as Margaret was alluding to earlier. Local temperatures around the Big Bend starting to cool off as we head into those evening hours just past sunset. 68 degrees here in Tallahassee, 63 in Monticello, and 63 up in Thomasville. As you head down to the coast, it's a little bit warmer too. 75 in St. Marks and 75 as you head over to Wilma. Current dew points around the Big Bend. It's a measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. We have been seeing a very dry conditions, also a little bit more comfortable than our summertime high temperatures. 48 degrees here in Tallahassee, 53 in Monticello, and 46 in St. Marks. And down by the coast, as always, due to that sea breeze, 59 in Apalachicola and 57 as you head over to Carabel. Here's our setup right now with our surface maps. We're going to focus right now on this high pressure system sitting just above the southeast, just above Alabama and Mississippi, and that's bringing this northerly flow of wind to our area. So instead of getting that moisture from the Gulf, we're getting that dry air just from the north of us, and it's going to keep our conditions dry over the next couple of days. Here comes the cold air as you spot way up here where that moisture is, and that is going to bring a little bit of cloud cover and possibly a slight chance of rain later in the forecast, but it will certainly cool us down significantly, maybe even some 30s in the forecast. Here's our futurecast over the next couple of days. I'm going to put it into motion for you, but you're not noticing anything because there's not many clouds expected to reach us anytime soon. We're going to stay in that dry spell, and it looks to be that's going to be the case over the next coming days until that cold front starts to come through. You can start to see that moisture pushing its way through our region and possibly even some cloud cover as well. If you want to head out on the boat tomorrow because you don't have class, lucky you, I have class, so I won't be able to do this. Wind is going to be nice and calm out of the east, about 5 to 10 knots. Waves actually nice and low to about 1 foot waves. Very smooth waters and sunny skies. There's a sunrise and sunset for you as well. Tonight, because of no cloud cover, we are going to cool down significantly. 48 degrees under clear skies, another cool night in that northerly flow of wind at about 5 miles per hour. Here's Thursday's outlook. Highs sticking up just a little bit above average, 79. That sunshine will certainly stick around. And here's the next 5 days for you. Sunny skies as we head into the weekend, but as the weekend starts to come, that cold front will bring a slight chance of rain. Don't cancel any plans because of it. We'll keep you covered on that for now. But for now, we're going to send it to Lexi with a more broad view of the southeast.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan. Well, currently around the southeast right now, 70 in Orlando, 68 in Tallahassee, but overall just feeling very warm across the southeast. Shreveport is feeling a little bit warmer at 78, but overall beautiful temperatures across the southeast, and it's just been really lovely. Still kind of dry, as the dew points we'll see, 48 in Tallahassee, 48 in Orlando, a little bit drier in Montgomery at 35, but with those dry conditions, it is feeling very comfortable. But again, we are in a drought, so those dew points are not going to be as high as they used to be when we've had moisture in our area. So our winds are feeling pretty nice right now. 7 in Orlando. We're not seeing any right now in Tallahassee. We did earlier today, but what I love to point out too about these winds is you can see the clockwise rotation that is associated with the high pressure that is in our area. It's just so cool to kind of see how these winds associate with our high pressure. You know, Montgomery going off to the east, Shreveport's going to the north, and so on and so forth, just like a clock, so it's pretty cool. So satellite and radar, again, not much to report. Pretty clear across the southeast, maybe a few storms out in the Gulf of Mexico, excuse me. And we have some storms that are moving to the east off of the coast of Miami, but overall, no rain chances anytime soon, but hopefully next week we will probably see some coming soon. Not much watches and warnings across our area. We do still have a small craft advisory down off the coast of Florida and into the Keys as well. Just gusty winds are making the water a little bit choppy, so if you have a tiny boat, just be careful before you head out there. So here is our U.S. drought monitor. So all these dark colors resemble how dry it's been, especially with no rain. We're sitting at very fair, our area's sitting at pretty fair conditions, but northern Georgia and Alabama are seeing the worst of it. And here's an actual lookout of what we are seeing right now. So let me move over here. So 7% of the southeast is exceptional. This includes 18% of Alabama and about the same for Georgia, but keep in mind that all of Alabama is in a drought, so they're feeling much drier than we are. Tallahassee area still in a drought, and wildfires are a very big issue, so just be careful if you do any bonfires or camping. Just be careful if you light a fire. It can be very dry, it can be very dangerous. We want to avoid that as much as possible. So futurecast, let's go ahead and set this in motion. Again, not much going on, just some moisture and showers in the Atlantic, but overall nothing really to see. Maybe a few showers out there by Texas, but for our area, we're not going to be seeing anything anytime soon. So for tonight, 46 in Tallahassee, 56 in Orlando, 42 in Montgomery. Another nice, cool night. Go out and enjoy yourself. Bring out the jackets too. It's going to be a little bit chilly. But for tomorrow, sunshine across the southeast, 80 in Tallahassee, 82 in New Orleans. Nothing but beautiful weather. But Jake's at the desk. What do you have for us, Jake?
Well, Lexi, I actually wanted to piggyback off you a little bit with this drought situation going on in the southeast. We've been talking about it for weeks now on this show because it's becoming a pretty significant issue in the Tallahassee area and North Florida in general, drought conditions beginning to spread their way across the Florida Panhandle, down the I-10 corridor, even starting to push in towards the western suburbs of Jacksonville, all the way down I-10. The further west you go in Florida is where you see some of these more severe conditions, especially in areas like Pensacola and Destin and areas just off to their north. And like we've mentioned before, wildfires are becoming a big issue with this as well. We talk about red flag warnings an awful lot on the show. Situations where you have low humidity combined with high winds, something you tend to have after cold fronts really pass through regions like this. And now in northern Georgia as well as Tennessee, we're starting to see this become a major problem. Margaret and Jordan will have a little bit more about that at the desk later on. Something else to keep in mind here for Tallahassee, with not too much rain in the immediate future, we could be seeing issues with water restrictions coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. We're optimistic that we have a chance of rain coming its way next Wednesday and Thursday, which should hopefully help us to calm things down a little bit around the area. However, keep that in mind. Try to conserve as much as possible going forward, because these sunny skies really are here to stay for Florida and really much of the southeast. But for now, we have Jordan at the wall, who's ready to give the tropics a little bit of love. What's going on, Jordan? All right. Thanks a lot, Jordan. We have a little bit of technical difficulties going on right now. We'll get him right back out of the wall shortly enough here. Let's talk about this day in tropics history. Well, actually, Jordan, he's got it out the wall right now. We'll talk about this day in tropics history with him instead. What's going on, Jordan?
Thanks, Jake. Sorry about those technical difficulties. Today in tropics history, we haven't had a lot of active storms over the past decade or so. The last active storm this day in history would be Hurricane Gamma back in 2005. We also had Hurricane Lenny back in 1999. It began a 24-hour period of rapid intensification, and the storm eventually became a Category 4 hurricane heading straight for the Caribbean. So a little bit devastating for them. Atlantic hurricane season 2016. We started off early with Alex back in January. A little bit abnormal that you see around hurricane season. It tends to be more early fall than anything. We also have Hermine that struck our area. We also know Matthew, the retired Category 5 hurricane from just recently. Sea surface temperatures, the higher the temperature of the sea, the more likely it is a hurricane to strengthen a lot more quickly. We are seeing those warmer temperatures because of those abnormal highs over the past couple of weeks. 77 out by the Gulf, so we hopefully won't see any kind of disturbances associated in the Gulf of Mexico. Quiet in the Pacific, not much to talk about, except we do have one area. Invest 90L is what we're calling it, and it's expected to have formation 30% within the next 48 hours or 80% within the next 5 days. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll keep our eye on that just for you. But for now, Matt, you have some information about us, or for us, on outdoors and events.
I actually do, Jordan. It's so nice outside that we wanted to go to Pittsburgh so that we can see exactly what's going on up there and compare that with what's going on here. Of course, Pittsburgh beat Clemson. We know what's going on with the shakeup in college football as of recent. I know Jake can attest to this if we see him again on the desk. However, we wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in Pittsburgh, of course, highlighting one of our weather stem cameras. Yesterday's high, 55. Today's high, not much different, 57. A far cry from what we've been seeing here, highs in the upper 70s. So it's nice to be down here in Florida where things are nice and warm, at least for me personally as a Floridian. If we are looking at Thursday night football, though, if you're going to be watching the game or heading out to the game here in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Panthers are taking on the Saints. That's tonight, or tomorrow night, rather, at 8:25. 55 degrees is what we're looking at there, and very clear. You can even see the moon out there as well if you look carefully. That's Thursday night football. Let's look at FSU football, turning our attention to FSU at Syracuse. This is at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. The game's at 3:30 on Saturday. The forecast, well, the key word here is dome. So we don't have any forecast for you, except that this particular arena doesn't actually have air conditioning inside of it. So fancy that, with Carrier being the primary sponsor. This game is being played indoors. Now the golf index as well, we're going to be hitting the links on Sunday, at least Jake and I will be. That's a 5, and it'll probably be a 5. Once again, a great day for golf tomorrow, though. East winds at 5 miles per hour, a gorgeous one if you head on out to the golf course. Heading on out to the beach as well. It's a nice one there, too. A little bit on the cool side. The water temperature starting to take a dip. down into the 70s, and that'll slowly start to get into the 60s, especially as the cooler temperatures keep on coming. Our 5-day forecast, though, looking gorgeous. Keeping a 10% chance of rain on Saturday just in case we do see any sort of pop-up showers in our outermost communities. But for now, we are going to be taking this one out to a national view with Margaret.
Yep, we're going to zoom this out to the national. Right now, take a look, starting off with our current conditions. You see the eastern seaboard has the moon icons. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is still looking at sunshine. Dallas and Texas, 82 degrees, and Dallas, Texas, 82 degrees under sunny skies. Meanwhile, out in the Rockies, lots of cloud cover out there. We're going to get into more detail about that in just a minute. Our national water vapor map. There is a lot of moist air. This measures the moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and green is for moist air. There's a lot of moist air over the Rockies and the plains. Meanwhile, here in the southeast, we're still looking at very dry air, which is not helping the drought and the wildfires. Our 24-hour temperature change, modest warm-up across most of the eastern half of the country compared to the temperatures that we saw yesterday. But take a look at Salt Lake City. They have dropped 19 degrees relative to the temperature that they saw this time yesterday. And that's because they've got a cold front that just passed through. Taking a look at our national surface map here, we've got cold fronts draped across the Rockies. There is snow falling across the Rocky Mountains, great for those ski resorts there. This front here is actually an occluded front, which is when the cold front spins around and catches up to the warm front. And so that's up there. Southeast here, still high pressure. And then northeast, they're getting some rain there with another low pressure system and the stationary front that's chilling out there. Our watches, warnings, and advisories are so much of a coloring book that I've got to step off and show you some of them that we've got over across North and South Dakota, as well as getting into Minnesota. We are looking at a blizzard watch. Meanwhile, the winter storm watch, that's the blue area surrounding that yellowish green area, that is also a larger area there. And then the purples and pinks that are across Montana and Wyoming, those are winter weather advisories as well as winter storm warnings. Meanwhile, as we get down into the plains here, Oklahoma and Kansas are looking at the high winds there. But as we bring it back over to that snow in the Rockies, they are getting some blizzard conditions out there. But because we know where those storms are, we can keep an eye on those and direct the airplanes around them so there are no airport delays across the country. And this one's really cool here, the Futurecast snowfall. You can see that front moving. Here are Billings and Salt Lake City getting in on the snow, and it's moving east. And we'll see Minneapolis getting in on some of the snow here, but areas north of Minneapolis are what really see the snow. The U.S.-Canada border, there's so much snow that we're expecting there that the scale is broken. Tonight, we're still looking at staying pretty temperate down here in the southeast, but take a look out west. 30 degrees tonight in Billings, and tomorrow, sunshine for the entire eastern half of the country. Cool weather is going to be making its way across the country, though, but for now, we're going to send it to Matt.
Thank you very much, Margaret. It was cool to see the cooler weather coming. However, we've been talking about it. We need the rainy weather to come as well because we've been many days without rain. But I've got the coffee here, so that can only mean one thing. I'm getting my energy to give a Professor Matt meteorology segment. So let's put this to the side real quick. We're going to be jumping into something that we kind of touched on a little bit last week, and that was high pressures and low pressures. But this week we're going to talk about something particular, and this is a key component to what wind is and where wind comes from, and that is a pressure gradient. Now, we always talk about high pressure, and it fits the name. It's an area of higher pressure, and then lower pressure, which is exactly that. It's an area of lower pressure in the atmosphere, and you have these differences in pressure. And when you have these differences in pressure, you will start to see some acceleration between the two pressure maximums and minimums. And when you see this, you get a generation of wind. Now, think of it like a bathtub. If you have the water in your bathtub and you pull the drain out, you've got all this higher pressure built up from the weight of the water. You pull the drain out, that's an area of lower pressure. The water's going to flow quickly down into that drain. So from higher pressure to lower pressure, you're going to get some acceleration, and then, in turn, some wind. So tune in next week for some more Professor Matt. We're going to send it on out to myself for an Around Florida look here. Let's look at the current conditions, what's going on across the state of Florida right now. The moons are out because of that time change. We're still feeling the effects of the time change. It's especially me. I finally changed all of my clocks around so that they are on time and I'm not freaking out when I'm an hour late for everything. So current conditions here in the state of Florida, 68 here in Tallahassee. We moved down the peninsula. It's pretty much 70s. It's really nice out there, actually, especially parts of South Florida. The nice wintertime conditions, a little bit dry. However, they were seeing some areas of sprinkles and some rain. Relative humidity, how it feels outside, is really about the same across much of the state of Florida. 50s as we get a little bit lower, closer to the equator, and then a little bit farther north here, we're kind of sitting. Look at Jacksonville, an area of maximum here, 72%. So a little bit more moisture in the atmosphere over for our friends on the East Coast. Current winds, though, nothing here in Tallahassee. That's going to help us cool down a little bit overnight. The more calm winds that we have, the cooler that it can get. However, down the peninsula, though, a pickup of wind speed primarily from the northwest, 12 miles per hour here in West Palm, and then 6 in Miami, 7 in Tampa, and the winds are about 10 to 15 gusting around there for much of the state. Now look at this, the water vapor, we go up a little bit in the atmosphere, we see how dry it is. Like the entire state of Florida has been engulfed by this dry air indicated by this pumpkin orange color. We like to call it maybe pumpkin spice. I'm not exactly sure. We have the water vapor here. The fall season is here. The cooler weather, the drier weather, whatever you want to call it, the water vapor imagery is definitely getting with the season as well. And the moist air, indicated by the green, shooting on off out of our area. Satellite and radar, though, all of the rain showers sitting over the northern half of the Bahama Islands and a little bit off the coast of Broward County as well. We need the rain here, folks, so this isn't the best picture in the world. However, if you like the dry days and the clear skies, that's what you're going to be getting here for the duration of the next few days, and we've been talking about this constantly throughout the show. Let's look at the futurecast temperatures. Our model's bringing this low temperature overnight here into the 40s and 50s in much of the peninsula, and then down into the 40s as well in other parts of Florida, especially when you get more to the rural areas, more trees, less heat built up in those trees. So you get out of town a little bit, it'll be a little bit cooler. And then tomorrow, another gorgeous day. 70s as a high. We're seeing mid to upper 70s here in parts of the Big Bend region. Down the peninsula again, 70s, gorgeous. And we may not even crack 80 in some areas. So really nice conditions out there for the entire state of Florida. Over the Friday night and into Friday morning, another 40s, 50s, the cooler air trying to sink its way in to the tri-state region here, and we are looking absolutely nice. Just keeping the 10% chance of rain, though, for early on in the weekend, but once that cold front kicks on through, we will see a nice one as well. Tonight's forecast, though, 46. Tomorrow, look at that, all the suns. Every single city has a sun. This is fantastic if you really like the sunny conditions. Jordan, Margaret, what have you got for us at the desk?
Matt, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the drought that the entire Southeast is seeing, and this story actually came to us from our friend, recent graduate, Shane Pendleton, who his family lives up in northern Alabama. And so up in northern Alabama, they've been getting the smoke that's been coming from a lot of these fires in North Georgia as well as in Tennessee, and that's been blowing all across that area. It's just been blowing all across that area.
Yeah, it's been causing a lot of air quality alerts and possibly even some red flag warnings too. So whenever Matt was talking to earlier about those bonfires, be sure to be careful, or Lexi, I'm sorry, was talking about those bonfires. Be sure to be very careful about that because it can affect even like young ones' health.
Yeah, the smoke can be very detrimental to anyone that's got any sort of breathing issue, and there's points where it can be detrimental to anyone, but as Smokey the Bear says, you can prevent forest fires.
Yes, but for now, we're going to take it out to Lexi. She has our second local.
I sure do, and those temperatures are back up above the average. Today's high, 77. Average is about 73, but it was quite hot in 1921, 88 degrees for this time in November. That's pretty odd for November, but of course, we've been seeing pretty high temperatures for October and November, so maybe it's not so weird after all. Today's low, 49, the average is 47, 22 as a low in 1940. That's pretty cold for Tallahassee. So currently right now, 67 in St. Marks, 68 in Tallahassee. The temperatures were in the 70s before the show, and now we have backed off into the upper 60s, so it's feeling just a little bit cooler than it did today. And of course, like all my colleagues have said, the moon is finally out because of that time change, so we're still trying to adjust to, hey, it's 6 o'clock, but the moon is out. So Satellite and radar across the tri-state region, pretty clear. Nothing much going on. I know we're begging for rain, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. We just have some showers off the coast, off in the Gulf Coast. That's not going to affect any kind of land whatsoever. So futurecast winds. So it's going to feel very cool tonight with a light wind tonight, but as we set this into motion going into Thursday, you can see that influence from the high pressure, and you can see that slight clockwise rotation. So by Thursday morning, it's going to be pretty nice out with the light wind, but come Thursday afternoon and evening, the winds will start to pick up just a little bit, especially down by Carabel, because influence from the sea breeze, they're going to be a little bit more breezier than we are, especially when they're by the water, but overall, same kind of temperatures, nice and cool. But here's what I want to point out. The winds are going to actually switch directions. You want to know why? Because that cold front is coming. So all that influence from the cold front is going to bring the winds into an opposite direction than it is from the high pressure. But even you can see here, you can see like a counterclockwise rotation there. But the winds are coming and the cold front is coming, and so are those temperatures. Now here's something new that we have. This is the jet stream that shows the winds at 30,000 feet. Let's go ahead and set this in motion just so you can see what is going on when the front makes its way in. So here's about where the front is as we move into Thursday and even into Friday. It's just going to bring all this wind in and cool temperatures. So we're just looking forward to some upper 60s and lows in the 30s. It's going to be pretty cold, you guys. So for tonight, Tallahassee at 48, 50 in St. Mark's, 51 in Carabel. It's going to be a little chilly out, so you may want to bring a nice jacket out, but overall, clear skies and nice wind out of the north. Go out and enjoy yourselves. I'm going to be in the library all night, so do it on my behalf. So for Thursday, 79 in Tallahassee, 77 in St. Mark's, and that sunshine is going to stick around just a little longer. So it'll be a perfect morning. It'll warm up quickly by lunchtime, and it'll be staying pretty sunny as the day continues for tomorrow. So for the week ahead, 10% chance of rain on Saturday, but look at Sunday and Monday heading into those mid to upper 60s and lows in the low 40s and upper 30s. What do you think about that, Jordan, Margaret?
I love seeing that cold front and those temperatures starting to even dip down into the 30s.
I'm super excited to see that low of 38 for Monday morning. I'm a fan of winter myself, except when I'm going out running.
Yes.
Yeah, that 38 degrees for Monday morning, I am super excited about that. I'm also excited to see that 30% chance of rain on Wednesday.
Yes, but for now we're going to have to suffer in air quotes there, through the first 80 degrees that we've seen. Again, the 80s are back, but they will quickly die off. As we even head into the weekend, we're going to start to see 60s for the highs, but I love seeing those rain chances.
Now that looks fantastic. And if you want to keep up to date on what our forecast is for the weekend and for next week with that chance of rain, check us out on social media.
Yes, of course. Also, check us out on our Twitter page. We have our trivia question
every Monday. Every Monday we have our trivia question. We'll release the answer on Tuesday. You can watch us anytime at livestream.com. And we got to give the shout out to the Instagram.
Of course, send us your viewer photos. It could be featured on the next show. But for now, I'm student meteorologist Jordan Frazier.
And I'm student meteorologist Margaret Hollis. Have a great night, Tallahassee.